All right, guys, welcome back. Today, what we've got is a balance patch, which is always welcome, and collab. Like, there's a lot going on today. Balance patch was a day or two ago, something like that. But it just kind of worked out that we could talk about the collab as well. So let's go ahead and get to it. So let's see what we got first. We got the Water Beast Monk specifically having their stun chance drop from 30 to 15. I think that's fair. The Water Beast Monk was everywhere, was the first pick. Felt a little oppressive once it got going. Like it was out damaging Despair runes without Despair runes, which is kind of scary. So that's a fair nerf. I don't think it'll be enough to make him gone. He does so much already. But I think it's a little tap that I think will be just fine. When Dokepi Lord, the amount of damage taken decreases according to your HP condition is reduced by up to 50 to 30. That's great. It takes no damage, it does insane damage, and it steals all your stuff, and it heals. Like, that's so much. I like new monsters kind of coming into the meta, but I don't think taking over the game is what they intend for any monster. So I think that's a fair nerf, and I think the way they're nerfing makes sense. Like, give it a little hit, see how it handles it, and then more if needed. They don't just destroy... Well, in theory, they don't just destroy the monsters like they used to. Like, Leica got destroyed by his nerf. Gurkha got destroyed by his nerf. So hopefully little changes will matter, because he still does. He's just like Chandra. He still does a ton, which is great. If you have him, I actually don't have him, but he's not just gone. So people that have him can still use him. He just won't be the be-all, end-all of all monsters. Like, he didn't even feel like he had an element. He could just do whatever he wanted to any other monster. So hopefully that'll change that a little bit. The Ifrit Fire decreases the damage dealt from enemies with no harmful effects by 20 to 30. So a little bit less damage taken, so they're buffing him back up a little bit. I think he got nerfed just slightly recently, and they apparently thought that wasn't good enough. I think Tessarion in general isn't great in RTA. When I see him as a counter to a bunch of passives, I don't think that's a problem. He can sort of semi-shut down one, but any cleanse wrecks him. You can control him, you can attack bar manipulate him, so I think that's fine. Gianna buff. This is the world we live in. Gianna's catching a buff. If that's not a sign of power creep, I don't know what is. I mean, she took a nerf. She took a couple little nerfs. But man, Gianna's getting a buff. So it goes from stuns enemies with beneficial effects to stuns everybody. And if you remove a beneficial effect, it's a guaranteed stun, which is really, really nice. A guaranteed stun as an opener, I think puts her right back where she used to be. I mean, what's nice about her is there's two tiers of strippers. There's the super fast strippers, like Triton and Munsa, stuff like that. And then there's the everybody else medium strippers where you're not competing for speed unless you just have god runes. And I think that puts her up into the higher category of those again, because she can do damage, she can strip, she can cycle, and that's kind of everything you need. Water Monkey catches another buff, of course. Every patch they buff him. I don't know why. He's never quite creeped into the RTA meta. I mean, he's kind of come and gone, but he's never found a spot. So now it's just he removes beneficial effect with all his 6 hits or whatever, and he has a chance to stun every time no matter what. I think you build him with a ton of crit no matter what. This just makes him so you can build him tanky. I don't know what world you would build him tanky. So I don't know that this changes a lot. It just means maybe you can build him with 60 crit or 80 crit instead of 100. So I guess you could build him on crit damage. You could make him a little tankier, but again, it's a buff, so good for him. Dark Monkey. The first hit decreases all enemies' defense for 2 turns, and the second stuns them for 1 turn with 75% chance. Now they both do both, which is great. 75% chance 1 at a time is not reliable. 2 that do both with a 75% chance is reliable. So you are going to get defense broke, and you are going to get stunned, more likely than not. So that's a great buff for him. I think it makes him completely viable. Water Bison. I like how they're just attacking like one monster per family. Like, they're not just like, this family gets this family gets this. Like, just Chandra gets hit on his first. But everybody's getting a little bit of something. When all allies attacked by the target with destroyed HP, decreases the incoming damage in proportion to the destroyed HP and increases the chance of receiving a glancing hit. 2. When allies attack the enemy with destroyed HP, increases the damage they deal in proportion to the destroyed HP. So he sets up with destroy and he makes everybody else hit harder. I think I like hit harder better than take less damage, because if you're bringing him, you're probably tanky. I might play around with him a little bit in sort of an auto AO kind of a thing, maybe an auto arena team, because sometimes the things you destroy are still hard to finish off because they do crazy things, whereas this would make them really, really easy to finish off. If they're destroyed a bunch, then you just hit really, really hard. So I think maybe bringing multiple destroy units with him that can just survive forever makes a pretty safe way to kill almost anything. So I don't know. We'll see. It seems like a buff. It's a different philosophy than how the unit used to be. It's less defensive and more offensive, but I think it's probably better overall. Water Hacker decreases the attack bar of all enemies except the selected enemy target by 20% each. So he cools down one target, and everybody else goes down 20% bar. So it lets you tune a little bit better, makes him a little more disruptive. I think it's really, really good. I think it makes him really, really good. I want him as a medium tier stripper, because some of my medium tier strippers I feel like aren't quite good enough. But I think he'd be really, really good because he can reset, and now he can bar manipulate. I don't think it's quite enough to get through Hagang, which is intentional, or it's like right at Hagang. I don't remember. I think Hagang's is 20%. I'll have to look at that. But yeah, I think that's a great buff. Hacker Water Light absorbs attack bar 30-35%. Cool. That's good. I like that. Light Hacker decreases attack speed of all enemies by 2 turns. Don't care. Like LD Nat 5s that, you know, it's fine. The 4 people that have it will be like, oh, all right, we got that. And everyone else is like, whatever. Pure Vanilla Cookie, Pudding Princess Wind. Look at them. Both names in one line. Apparently it's possible. I didn't know it was, because in balance patches past, you would see Pure Vanilla Cookie, Pudding Princess, like, thank you. This is logical. Anything other than this is silly. Thank you for doing that. Put them both in one line. They're the same unit. Anyway, rant over. Removes 1 to 2 harmful effects from the ally with the lowest HP status. I assume it went from 1 to 2, so now it's removing 2 harmful effects. That's pretty good. Honestly, that's Raccoon-ish. So, remove harmful effects and grant a shield. That's not bad. I might have to look into that unit a little bit more, because even Gapsu's removal of 1 is pretty impactful. Any passive cleanse is really, really impactful. So I'll have to look into that. I have this unit. I've never built it. But I know people use it in Siege. Maybe it'll see a little bit of play in RTA. I don't know. We'll look into that. Devil Maiden Dark. Whatever. Bayek Desert Warrior All. Damage proportion to attack bar. Damage proportion to attack bar and max HP. Yes, that makes sense. More damage based on HP. They're HP monsters. Thank you. Oh my god, Hathor's getting a buff. What is happening? Like, yep, this is great. I mean, I get Hathor's not a thing, but man, I have like internal issues from seeing Hathor so many seasons in a row, and to think that Hathor would ever catch a buff is crazy to me. Like, what a weird meta. The game has changed, you know? People are like, oh, it's so stale. No, Hathor and Gianna getting a buff, things have changed. This is crazy. Anyway, let's look at it. Grants harmful effect removal blocked for 1 turn to the selected enemy target. So this is the strip sleep, and now it's strip sleep, can't remove it. So can't cleanse. So it can still proc out because it's a 1-turn sleep. But it can't be passively cleansed, is how I read that. Interesting. It's very specific, but could help against like Raccoonies or Gapsus. Unless I'm just reading it crazy. Like, it's a 1-turn thing, so they can still proc. But they just can't have it cleansed to sleep. Maybe you load it up with other things, like bombs or something. I don't know. That's a little bitty buff, but it's something. Weapon Master Light. Congratulations, Bend the Pants. I'm not going to read this. I assume people that want to play this will read it. Phoenix Light. Increases the attack bar of all enemies by 15%. That's amazing. Really, really good. Phoenix Dark. Whoa. It got something and that changed. Let's look. The enemy you defeated on your turn cannot revive during the battle. The passive skills of all enemies do not activate when you attack an enemy on your turn. For example, if there's a Water Mage with a Soul Stone and you defeat a target other than Water Mage, the target cannot be revived. What did it used to say? The enemy you defeated on your turn cannot revive during the battle. The passive skills of the enemy you attack. That seems good. Blow through passives. Cool. That seems good. If you have that, nice. All right, so the series and the Yennifers. Excellent, excellent. So Water Wind Light increases from 80 to 100% ignore defense. That just makes sense. There's monsters that do a ton of damage. There's no reason this one should not do a ton of damage for a single target. I have the blue one. We'll try it out. It just needs to be a lot more speed than whatever it's attacking, so that's kind of neat. Puts it maybe into like the Sonya category, except blue, because we've got the Yennefer. Is it Yennefer? I can't remember. No, Cassandra in red that does it. That does something like this. We have the Sonya in yellow, and we have the Ciri in blue, unless I'm forgetting something. Those are the defense ignoring things. Poor Daphnis. Poor Daphnis, sitting on his own, having to do res and accuracy checks. Poor Daphnis. These other monsters are like, what's that? What's a res accuracy check? Don't worry about it. I'll ignore defense. It's fine. I don't even need defense break. Light increased by 13%. Oh, decreased. Wow. Was light good? No one knew. Maybe it was. I will never know. If I see it, I'll read it. Fire Yennefer decreases the enemy attack bar by 15% when you attack the enemy on your turn. That seems good. Passive attack bar decrease. I don't really know enough about what that one does, but that's pretty good. Water, fire, and light absorbs the attack bar by 30% with 30% chance to stuns the enemy for one turn with 30% chance. I don't know. Seems okay. It seems not like an obvious buff, but I mean, control is 100% bar versus 30% bar. So I get it. Yennefer Wind Dark, max cooldown 4 to 5. Ooh, they increased the cooldown. Interesting. Removes one harmful attack from all allies to grants immunity on all allies for 2 turns. I mean, immunity's good. It fundamentally changes the monster from a cleanser to an immunity giver. 5-turn cooldown. I'm assuming that drops down to 3 with skill ups. Otherwise, a 4-turn cooldown on a 2-turn immunity is pretty bad. We can go look at it, but that seems just different. They're just changing what the monster does. Ginger Brave. I remember that monster. It exists. Removes a beneficial effect to steals a beneficial effect. Better. That's better. I don't know that anyone will use him, but that's better. Because, like, why would you use Ginger Brave to steal an effect and, like, cool something down when you can use Sonya to just kill it? Like, killing is better than letting it live forever, right? Sky Surfer Water Dark. Stun chance up to 50%, so that's Miles. That's a pretty good buff. The Dark one's also really good. Miles already stuns a ton, so that's pretty nice. Nice buff for Miles. I don't know why Miles got a buff, but I guess he was good, and they're like, wait, he's not played anymore? But yeah, that's solid. All right, Ryu Striker Wind. This is the budget Daphnis. Cooldown down. Steals all beneficial effects. So this is the one that has like 3 axe res checks. So we've already talked about why Daphnis is bad, and this is the budget Daphnis. So axe res checks are bad when you have monsters that don't have to do them and do their job better, and those exist in this element. So I don't think this monster is ready to go yet. Fire or Dark Striker, cool. The people that have it, read that. That's fine. Hypno Meow removes 1 beneficial effect granted on the enemy with a 30% chance. So it only does like 1 skill most of these, right? So it just has a remove a beneficial effect. That seems good. Strip. Plus it's going to be sleeping. I don't know if it's enough to make them really good, but that's a step in the right direction, right? All right, Fire Robo increases your attack bar by 50% down to 25% when an enemy gets an additional turn. Okay. Decreases the cooldown of Blade Crush by 1 turn when the enemy gets an additional turn. All right, we're going to go look at that because I feel like that just means you're going to get to do skill 2 infinitely, which could be really, really good. He'd be really, really good at countering Bio if he doesn't get stunned. So you need a lot of res, I guess, because the things that are going to be stunning him, I don't know, are probably going to be low AC units, maybe. Like I'm thinking like Chandras and Wind Robos and stuff, but you wouldn't pay a Wind Robo into him. Interesting. I guess it's a buff because they really reduced that. I don't know. We'll look into that. Dryad Fire. If the enemy doesn't have any beneficial effects, prevents the enemy from gaining beneficial effects. 2. Increases the duration of beneficial effects. Effect added. So I want to look into that too. Is that just a passive? Flower Fog? I don't know. We'll look into that. Dark Dryad. If the target has a beneficial effect or harmful effect when you attack, deals additional damage by 10% of the target's HP. 10%'s a lot. Doesn't, what's her name? Amber do like 3% per dot? 10%'s a lot. So that makes Dark Dryad do a little bit of damage. Beneficial effect or harmful effect. Huh. Okay. Interesting. All right, so we're going to go look at Fire Dryad, Dark Dryad, and Fire Robo. Because I am curious. Let's go do that. Can I get out of here? So, Fire Dryad. Let's see if we can't find it. There's a Hypno Meow. You're not a Dryad. Where's the Dryad? There you are. Flower Fog. Okay, so no, it's not a passive effect. Taxing enemies short the time of beneficial effects. So this is the one that now extends the duration. Interesting. Okay. Dark Dryad. Oh, we can just go straight from there too, can't we? Where'd that Dryad go? Dark Dryad. So that's a 4-turn cooldown. But now it does damage. And it's a guild leader skill. Seems good for Siege. I can see that for Siege. Let's see this Hypno Meow. This is this one. So it has a max HP, sleep, it falls asleep, and now it strips. So the dark one ignores defense if you and the enemy are sleeping. And now it has a strip. Interesting. All right, I want to look at that wind thing too. It's fairly recent. I think is it this one? Can't remember. I think it's the other one. I think it's this one. What's the Thomas? What? No. We'll have to look into that. It's one of these. I don't know. Just as far as the balance patch goes, interesting, impactful. I think some of the things will matter. I think the little nerfs are nice. It's a very like targeted. This monster gets this. This monster gets this. A lot of LDs catching a little bit of something, which really won't matter to most people, but I think it's fine as far as balance patches go. Like, I think they're trying to address things. They're trying to slowly bring monsters into the meta, or at least adjust them. So I think it's fine. It doesn't thrill me because there's not a ton of stuff, but that's kind of what balance patches are these days. Like, at least it's not an insult where they list the same monster as 2 different lines. That's nice. So COLLAB, another COLLAB, July 30th. I love when they release stuff right before it comes out, because then you don't have to wait. So from this recording, 8 days until Summoner's War X Jujutsu Kaisen COLLAB. So I don't know anything about Jujutsu Kaisen. I know nothing about it, but I'm excited about any sort of a collab. We got a lot of scrolls. We'll summon them up. We'll see what we get. From what I understand, it's a anime/manga that is very popular. I don't know anything about it. Jujutsu sorcerers, cool. I like sorcerers. Sounds like a humanoid kind of a thing. So yeah, we'll look forward to that. We'll see what we can get. Any new monsters are good. So in terms of scrolls, I've been saving since the slightly increased rates. I summoned through these slightly increased rates to try to get hackers. I didn't get any, but we've got about 300. Bunch of these. Decent number of LDs for me. Decent number of these. So we'll do all those on stream when it's time. So hope that was helpful for y'all. If you have any thoughts about the balance patch, things you saw, things you liked, things you didn't like, please let me know in the comments. And yeah, everybody enjoy the collab in 8 days. Take care, y'all.